Alrighty. Good evening, everyone. We want to thank you for coming out to the Grand Rapids Public School Board regular meeting on November 20th. We welcome and appreciate your presence at this meeting. We respectfully request that you turn off cellular phones and refrain from clapping, cheering, or making audible comments. We invite you to make formal public comment during the designated times, either regarding an agenda item or a non-agenda item, or both. Please fill out the comment card that you can find in the entryway, and you may leave that at the table there. Please limit your comments to approximately 3 minutes, and you will be called up at the appropriate time to make comment. Ms. Downs-Lewis, if you would please call the roll.
Ms. Davis? Here. Mr. Eatman?
Present.
Ms. Lewis here. Ms. Melton?
Here.
Mr. Rodriguez is excused. Mr. Ross?
Here.
Ms. Shackey?
Here.
Ms. Wade?
Present.
President Williams?
Present.
I have a quorum.
Wonderful. We need approval of the agenda. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. All righty, we'll move forward. Dr. Roby, celebrations.
Good evening, everyone. We are going to begin our evening with a celebration of our own Mr. Sammy Leggett, and Mr. Matthew Beresford is going to tell you why we are recognizing our alum, Mr. Leggett.
All right, and then let's make sure we're projecting. Good evening, Dr. Roby, President Williams, distinguished board members. You may recognize this gentleman on my left from being one of your partners in leadership last year as one of our scholar members of the board, Mr. Sammy Leggett. And on Saturday, he was recognized for some incredible accomplishments he did with the Boy Scouts of America. Troop 258. He earned his Eagle Scout and was welcomed into that special court that very few scouts accomplish. There were many requirements to accomplish. I'm not going to read all of these, but I know that you highlighted a couple during the ceremony and your speech afterwards on Saturday. Would you like to share a few, Sammy?
Yes, so to get the Eagle Scout requirement, I had to pass a swimming test. I do not like the water. I do not like putting my face in the water. So that was definitely the thing that took the longest and the most hardest, but I'm glad to say that I actually got it done, so yes.
That's great.
Nice. And then if we move on to the next page, look at all of these different merit badges. Which were some of your favorites?
Definitely the climbing. I love like going down the rappel wall when we went to camp. And then the orienteering was really fun because we got to go to my scoutmaster's house and like use the compass and try and go all around the acres. So it was really fun.
Now, tell us a little bit about your Eagle Scout project that you did, your final project.
Yeah. So I partnered with the Kent County Animal Shelter, and we built 2 scent walls. So there are 2 walls where the dogs can go up. The animal shelter workers, they drop little scents in them, and the dogs try and sniff each scent. So we built 2 walls for that, and they're using that to train the dog's nose and just keep their senses up.
And then finally, we all want to know what you've been up to since graduating Grand Rapids Montessori Middle High. So where have you gone?
So I've gone to MSU, go green.
Wow.
I'm currently in the James Madison College. I'm looking to major in political theory and constitutional democracy. I'm currently a part of the Student Senate, and I'm currently an intern for Representative Christian Grant. So,
Yes.
Any questions?
Any comments, colleagues?
Well, congratulations on
Thank
all of these accomplishments, and we're super, super proud of you. In the short time I've been able to work alongside of you, your dedication and diligence to accomplish your goals has been very, very, very well versed and recognized. And so happy to see that you are thriving at Michigan State University. And you're getting too grown on me, so this is weird looking at you in this manner. But it's a good thing. This is part of life, right? You continue to grow, you thrive, you adjust. And so I can't speak for all of us, but I can say, I can tell you that there's a sense of pride based on the looks of all of our faces. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And continue to thrive, but also continue to lean on your community, right? Oftentimes, especially as youth, you have this mentality at times that you're in this by yourself, but beyond your family, your school, the greater Grand Rapids community, we support you. And so lean into that, especially as times gets rough or you need encouragement. Learn how to lean into people to keep you moving, okay?
Thank you.
Sammy, I think you left out a part. I remember you were telling us your future aspirations, and I need you to tell us what are we going to be voting for you for one day?
So I have goals to run for office one day. Hopefully I start off as a state representative, then senator, then governor, then president.
Yes. Okay.
That's the goal.
Needed us to hear that again. You heard it here first.
And actually, I'm going to add board member first.
Okay. All right. That's great. Have fun. I can't stress that enough. Just enjoy life and the journey. The goals are great, but just the journey to getting there. Just make sure you enjoy every bit of it.
Before you go, I also want to acknowledge Mrs. Leggett. We had the opportunity to meet her on Saturday. Will you please stand so we can give you your flowers too? We know that this young man is doing so well because of the support that he has from you and your extended family, and we want to publicly acknowledge that. And then also to Sammy, on behalf of myself and the Board of Education, you are our shining star. And so we have a little commemorative plaque that just says that you are our shining star, because we know you are going to continue to do great things. You are a wonderful young man. I learned a lot more about your story this past weekend, and we're proud of you. We're proud of your journey, and as suggested, enjoy it. Enjoy the process. Continue to soak up all that you can, and continue to represent yourself and your community and your family the way that you are doing, because you are doing a phenomenal job.
Thank you.
All right.
Can we take a picture?
Sammy. Sammy.
Oh wait, let me get in this picture. He might be the.
Join us.
Join the picture?
I don't feel like I shouldn't.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Our next celebration is from one of our leaders in one of our school buildings, and she is a Fulbright recipient, and Dr. Carl Nelson is going to talk about this stellar and brilliant academic leader.
Awesome. Good evening, Dr. Roby, President Williams, and members of the board. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to celebrate a leader, an amazing educator in the Grand Rapids Public Schools. Principal Rosemar is not only a proud principal of Sibley Elementary and 20-plus years Is it? In both K-12. 25? Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. I didn't, okay. K-12 and higher ed, but she is also a Fulbright Scholarship recipient. Let me tell you a little more. The picture that you see behind you or in front of you is the real Rose Maher. The energy and the authentic person she is can light up an environment, any environment that she steps in. I am honored to again work with her after working together for a few years at Union High School, and we celebrate her today. I will give Principal Maher an opportunity to share a little bit of her experience, but first, what is a Fulbright Scholarship winner? Fulbright teacher exchanges are programs in the United States Department of State funded by the U.S. Congress. Through these professional learning programs, elementary and secondary educators in the United States and around the world develop their educational practice and bring global knowledge, skills, and perspectives to their schools. Educators forge lasting connections and prepare their students to be future leaders, equipped to work with others around the world to address global challenges. So, Principal Maher, please tell us a little bit about your story the last couple weeks.
Okay, so thank you very much for having me here tonight. Thank you, Dr. Nelson. So I was able to go to Germany, November the 2nd to the 14th, and we went to 3 different places, Bonn, Berlin, and Leipzig. The first picture is an elementary school, and the second picture is just Bonn. But I think what was most important was the connections I made with other principals. So yes, so on the top left, those were the people, those were the recipients of the Fulbright Award for this year. And I think it was through those connections, those conversations that I had that really were an outstanding part of this experience. On the right, that was us at the U.S. Consulate, and we spoke with global leaders in Germany, global leaders from the United States who are connected to Germany about education, the realities of education, the realities of immigration and refugees coming into classrooms, how to educate, how to make sure that there is equity, and it was life-changing. That's all I could say. We had to come in with a driving question, and my guiding question had to do with, in my experience in Grand Rapids Public Schools for 25 years, Dr. Nelson. 25 years. No! I have seen just the impact that poverty and education have with our students. I wanted to see if it was the same in Germany. And the answer is it was. And so we have to do better. We have to do better with our, especially Black and brown students in, for me, it's the west side of Grand Rapids. But yeah, we have to do better with them. I think that in Germany, the awareness of equity was very different based on who you spoke to. Very similar to here in the United States, but it's there. And I think our work is to make sure that we continue to push that and, just ensure that all students have access to grade level curriculum, grade level reading and math standards, and prepare them for post-secondary opportunities, whatever that is. And that's, if you don't know Berto, who knows Berto? So Berto is the puppet of Sibley. He came along on this journey with me. At first, the Fulbright folks didn't quite know how to receive him. It was very awkward. I would put him out, hello, and but in the end, they loved him, and he actually is now with a principal in Fort Lauderdale. Her name is Sean Allen, and he is going to be there as an exchange student. He is, it's true. And then he's going to return to Sibley with second grade letters, and we have now started a partnership where our second graders will write to them. So that was the last night. And I did a whole presentation with Berto, with these really smart people. So yeah, that was my experience. I'm just glad I was there.
Could we please give a round of applause? And do you have any questions?
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. I know. So this is funny. So she's laughing because she knows what I'm about to say. So if you are 25 years in, then that means I was your student in your second year. And so this is a full circle moment for so many other reasons. But I'm happy that you were able to get this, because when I talk about giving people their flowers in real time, your impact that you had my freshman year, and I don't even remember the class. I know it was an AP class. I don't remember. But what sticks out, especially when I think about me being a previous scholar, is the impact, right? And you can't exchange a positive impact of what that means for a student. And so to have you as my teacher, and now have you stand before me in this position as a principal, this is hilarious on so many levels. But I just want to thank you for your what you have imparted in that class in particularly, and the impact that you had on my life personally. So I am super excited that you got this opportunity, but also the fact that you are getting recognized from this board, because you are an example of what teacher and principalship should look like. I want you to have that in real time, and just thank you for your commitment to staying at GRPS, but also for your love for education and students. And so thank you so much.
I'd like to say something too. I've had the privilege of living on the west side for almost 2 decades in Sibley's attendance area. And so that means I go to church in that area, I know families from the area, I grocery shop in that area, and I can't tell you what a positive impact Rose has had on that area. I'm so grateful that you've come there, that you've brought yourself so fully. So thank you. There's so many great leaders in our community, in Grand Rapids, and you are a leader of leaders. So thank you.
And I just learned your first name today. So this is, this is so funny. You were always forever Ms. Maher. So this is hilarious. So you will forever, I will continue to call you that as well.
Any other comments from colleagues?
Well, I just think I might have missed. How did you apply for? How does one become a recipient of this scholarship?
So I'm glad you asked. So Steve, where are you, Steve? So he is a good friend. You know Steve.
Yes, I
So
do.
This is my sister Betsy, and my family's there. My family's there too. There's Melanie. My son, my kids. So anyway, Steve was like, Rose, you should apply for this. And he told me about it. I'm like, I'm gonna just keep doing what I do. And then he sent me the link on my phone. And I started looking, and there was opportunity for travel, opportunity to speak with other administrators, and that is why I did it. So it was Steve. And so I just want to make sure and give shine to him, because that's how I knew that this was even a possibility for me.
That's
Wonderful.
oftentimes what we need is just to be seen, and somebody to see something in us that we don't, not that we don't believe about ourselves or see in ourselves, that we're just doing so much in the work that we don't have time to see it. So we appreciate you, Steve, for seeing her.
And then I'll just say, it has just been a pleasure to see you work in the district and the community. We know that you are well loved, and we appreciate the love that you show our families and our scholars. Thank you so much for what you do in bringing that energy and really changing environments. And as we talk about changing culture, we need people who can display what you have displayed for so long to change the culture and the way we do things in our district. So we celebrate you, we thank you, and we appreciate you being with us. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And our final celebration is related to athletics with our turkey trot update. And so I'll invite Mr. Kurt Johnson forward. And Miss Stephanie Andrews, did I see her?
Yes, she's there.
Oh, sure.
Hi, neighbors. I appreciate y'all so much.
Ms. Before Mr. Johnson begins speaking, Ms. Andrews is the CEO and president of GRPS Foundation, and so we work very closely. GRPS works very closely with the foundation as we are working to provide multiple opportunities for the young people in our community, and so we have some exciting news to share. Mr. Johnson.
No, we also say congratulations to the honorees tonight. You know, one of my favorite good old gospel songs says, "Bring me my flowers while I can yet still smell them, so that I can see the beauty that they bring." And I think the BOE celebrations are bringing flowers. And so once you're GRPS, you're always GRPS. Right. So we want to thank you for that. Good evening, President Williams, Superintendent Dr. Roby, and distinguished board members. I'm Kurt Johnson, Executive Director of K-12 Athletics for the district, and with me this evening, also have Stephanie here, but also I have the both high school athletic directors, Marcus Harris from Ottawa Hills and Justin Walker from Union High Schools. And this evening, we want to share with you some of the fall season athletic accomplishments. Our work is connected to the district's strategic plan under Theme 2, Optimize and Value All School Options. And one of the strategies under that theme is to tell our own stories. And so we would like an opportunity to share some of our stories. But first, we're going to give you, this is Turkey Trot Week. Everything is Turkey Trot right now. We'll give you a little bit of updates on what's going on with Turkey Trot.
So since I was here last, we talked about we had surpassed our fundraising efforts from last year. And I'm excited to say that we have hit $100,000 in sponsorship. And all of those funding is going to our sports this year. So I'm so excited. We have more sponsors than we've ever had before. And I know you have the current number because I got the number this morning, but I heard you got the current number of our runners. But we've surpassed our runner number from last year, and we are headed into 5,000 with the current number of.
Yeah, so our goal is 5,000, and we're over 4,600 right now.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. So we're way ahead of pace there, and so we're pleased about that. And there's still time to register. Runsignup.com or grps.org and click on the Turkey Trot banner. If you can't participate, you know, there's still an opportunity to donate on the donate button there. And so activities will start this Thursday, November 23rd at 8 a.m. And as I always say, don't meet me there, beat me there. So we're excited about moving our feet before we eat.
One last thing, so as an alumni of the district as well, it's our 30th anniversary. So I've challenged all of my alumni to come out there, and I'm like, if I can get 30 of you to run it, I said it's roughly about 30 minutes. So come on out. So I know there's a few of you, if you haven't decided yet, like get that in there, anybody in the audience and anyone watching remotely. We're trying to hit that because this all goes to our kids and it's all for our kids. And we are so excited about the amount of GRPS scholars that are already going to be at the start line and how many families have registered. So thank you for all of your support. Sharing out there, there's still time to repost. But let's help us raise these funds because this all goes to our sports. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll continue with just a few accomplishments from the middle school division. And from cross country, we had two of our girls who earned second place in the West Michigan Middle School Cross Country Championships. For football, Union High School's middle school football team, Red Hawks, went undefeated this season. And in our GRPS tournament sports, boys soccer from Southwest won the soccer championship, and the girls at City won the volleyball. We hosted two very large cross-country events this fall for middle schools. One was the Michigan High School Athletic Association Middle School Regional Championships, and then the West Michigan Middle School Championships. And so we would like to see that success continue on through the winter season with middle schools. And without any further ado, we'll hear from high schools.
Good evening, Superintendent Dr. Roby, President Williams, and board members. Thank you for allowing me to come share some of the, briefly share some of the celebrations and that our fall scholar athletes achieved at Union High School. This past fall, Union had 8 first-team all-conference athletes, 4 honorable mention scholar athletes. Along with that, those conference awards, we had a number of celebrations in our sports. The Union Swim and Dive team had 19 personal best records set this season, with every single athlete scoring at least 1 point at the conference meet, which is the first time that has happened in some time for Union High School. Along with that, the Union varsity boys tennis team was named to the MHSAA All-Academic State Team. There are over 120 schools in Division I tennis in the state of Michigan, and Union High School is ranked 3rd. The Union High School tennis team was ranked 3rd in the state with the team GPA. This is the 4th year that our boys tennis team has achieved this honor of being academic all-state, and we hope to continue that next year. One of the big things that Mr. Johnson has stressed to our department was making sure that our students have post-secondary opportunities through their hard work and support that their community has provided them during their 4 years in high school. With that, we have had Kahari Caldwell, who has committed to play football at Fair State University on an athletic scholarship. And we also have Robbie Diedrich, who is still weighing his options in football from schools such as Finley, I knew I was going to mess that up, Finley University, Fair State University, and Wayne State. And we also have multiple soccer players who have been invited to personal workouts with GRCC Davenport as well. So your efforts and your support of our athletic program has provided our scholar athletes with multiple opportunities post-graduation, and we thank you for that. Mr. Harris.
Good evening.
Good evening.
President Williams, Superintendent Dr. Roby, distinguished board members. I'm here to highlight some of the fall season highlights at Ottawa Hills Athletics. Our girls swim team had another amazing season under the leadership of Coach Alex Brinks. We had 4 all-conference athletes for swimming. Recently, this past weekend, our swim team was at the Highland Aquatic Center for the state finals. And so we had 9 state meet qualifiers. Some of those events included the 200 freestyle, the 500 freestyle, the 200 free relay, the 400 free relay, and also the 200 medley relay. And so altogether for the fall season, Ottawa Hills had 11 all-conference athletes for the OK Gold, and then 5 honorable mention. Also, a highlight from our volleyball program, which has taken tremendous strides over the last several years. We hosted the 10th annual Ottawa Hills Bengals Invite on September 19th, and our volleyball program took first place out of 9 teams. So that was good for the volleyball program. Also, cross country had another great season under the leadership of Coach Dan Ebright, who's with us here today. We had 4 all-conference athletes: Selma Anderson, Anna Wayner, Reese Hansen, and Liam Walters. 3 honorable mention cross-country athletes: Campbell Hansen, Nick Williams, and Kelton Hoover. Selma Anderson, some of you probably recognize the last name. She's the sibling of Benna. She was also the OK Gold Conference champion this year as well as last year, so 2-time champion there. Selma also took first place in the regional meet. Liam Walters placed 3rd in the regional meet as well. Both of those guys qualified for the state meet. Selma Anderson was the runner-up, so she finished 2nd in the MHSA Division I girls race and earned all-state honors. It was the 9th year in a row that the Ottawa Hills cross country team had state qualifiers, and the 6th year in a row that the team had had earned all state honors in cross country. Also, again with Selma, recently she qualified for the Nike Cross Country Nationals in Portland, Oregon, by placing 2nd at the Nike Cross Country Regional Meet in Indiana. So that is a pretty big deal. With the national meet is December 2nd. And so with that, Selma will also be attending, like her brother, Syracuse University as well. So I want to thank you for having us, and I'm sure we'll be here again to talk about some of the winter sports as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Benna Anderson, I want to say, is one of our ambassadors for the Turkey Trot this coming Thursday.
Absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned that. I was just getting ready to highlight that he is
coming back to be co-race director. He's our honorary co-race director, so you'll get a chance to see him on stage and hear from him as he addresses the crowd with some of the other stage guests. So we're very excited about him. I'm not sure what color hair he'll have. You know, it's always a mystery, but he will be joining us. And his coach, Danny Bright, if you could stand, who has really transformed cross-country and track and field at Ottawa Hills. Took down my records at Ottawa Hills, you know, so we really appreciate that. Also, I do want to recognize some of our cross-country members who are here, if you guys can stand. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then we are going to the report from our scholar representative, Mr. Calderon.
I want to congratulate all the winners of their own awards. I think that was very awesome to see. Just seeing how GRPS really sticks with people and how, as a community, we hold strong to our roots. For my report, I had to sadly miss the last month's scholar representative due to a fundraiser we were hosting down at City High Middle, but I can speak on some of the changes that have occurred to the GRPS schools, such as the lunch changes that we have done. I've seen a lot of positive feedback coming from students, as they are now a lot more, I guess, happy with changes going on with lunches, the different options we have, more options for vegetarian and vegan as well. I've seen a lot of positive feedback from that, so that is one thing I really wanted to highlight.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Next, we have our first opportunity for public comment. I do see we have one from the GREA. Did you want to come up at this time? This is typically the time we will allow for the union rep to speak. To speak.
I do
We
know the
will-
rules.
We
Yeah,
will
so-
hold up a red card, and we have 1 minute left.
Okay.
And you will have another opportunity if you would like to speak in the second on non-agenda items as well. You got it?
Okay.
Just gonna give you official.
Okay. If there is anyone present who is interested in giving public comment, we have two public comment sections on our agenda. The first one is public comment on board agenda items. Agendas are located on the comment cards. And the second opportunity is for commenting on non-agenda items. If there is a matter that you would like to speak on, you will need to fill out the public comment card located on the tables at the entry point. Please submit your cards, and Ms. Anderson will be picking them up and giving them to President Williams. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes. You will need to state your full name before providing your comment. You will then start the timer at the beginning of your public comment time and provide you with a 1 minute notice with my red sheet of paper. You'll need to complete your comment time upon being notified that 3 minutes have passed. Negative comments concerning employees or others will not be tolerated, and doing so will ensure you will lose your time. Board members do not respond to public comments. Concerns will be brought to the attention of the appropriate staff. We value your input and thank you for sharing with us.
Okay, my name is Jane Neiman. Good evening, Madam Superintendent, President Williams, and board members. I wanted to talk about a couple of agenda items. Number one, I have worked with Rose Maher, and she is absolutely an outstanding staff member at GRPS. She is a wonderful teacher, a wonderful principal. She is beloved. She was beloved by her coworkers and administration at Union High School when she taught there. I had the privilege of working with her there, and also at Sibley, I know she is well loved by her staff and students. So she is definitely the kind of people that we want to recruit and retain in this district. I just want to make sure that those are the people that we want to acknowledge and reward, and those are the kind of people that we want to recruit, because those are the kind of people that make a difference in GRPS. I would also like to speak to the GRPS Reimagine, which I believe was on the agenda. Had a couple of concerns after coming to the board meeting last week and thinking about, I didn't have enough time in 3 minutes to talk about everything, but there were some concerns raised by some of my colleagues as we go through this process, thinking about combining 7th through 12th or 6th through 12th, middle school and high school. There were some concerns as to bullying and making sure that kids were kept separate in common spaces. I think also to be important to make sure that all the security cameras are working and functional in all of the places where kids can congregate, stairwells, corners, and other places in the buildings. That was a concern. A concern was also class size and just having the space to add additional grades, and whether or not that would be a 6th through 12th or a 7th through 12th combination as well. Another concern was athletics, just the gym space. I know that with high school sports, not only do you have the sports that are in season, but you have sports that have preseason conditioning. And particularly from fall to winter, that can become an issue since most of your winter sports do need indoor space. If you were to add middle school sports to that, that would perhaps be a bigger demand than we have space for. And so that is something I would like the board to consider, and those that are making these decisions to consider. Mr. Johnson, I know that's you, to consider that and how that would work and make sure that we have those facilities available, perhaps even repurposing some of the buildings not being used for those kind of spaces, and also for fundraising for different programs, things that space we could have for fundraising and banquets for sports teams as well. Thank you. That's all I have for you right now. Thank you.
Alrighty. We'll move on to our reports, Secretary's report.
We have none tonight.
Alrighty, and no committee chair updates tonight. So the superintendent's report.
Good evening. And so we are going to, as promised, to provide continual updates. Oh, I gotta read my own notes. We are going to actually have our GRPS Foundation president, as well as Executive Director Ms. Cheney, come back to give some updates specifically around the foundation work. So I'll invite them forward.
Good evening again. Did you guys all decide to do turkey trot? All right, shout out again for all the turkey trot. All right. I just want to share a couple more things about the work that we're doing at the foundation. As I've been talking about probably for the last year or so, we had worked on our strategic plan and where the foundation is going alongside the district, and we have finalized all of that. And so I just want to give some updates because our work before had kind of been some broader buckets around program for GRPS. And while we will still continue to support programs around GRPS in regards to sports, fine arts, and experiential learning, a couple of new things that we're really focused on is really what are the projects that are happening that we could wrap our arms around. And some of those are in regards to the Principals Fund, the Teresa Weatherall Neal Principals Fund that's been in place for a long time. And I'm very excited about the projects that are coming up through that. Even just today, we get 3 more requests. And just to kind of share with you some of the things that are bubbling up, because I think it's important for you guys to know where the needs are, especially from our principals' work, is it's coming through in regards to warm gear. Today we got a request for boots and snow pants, as well as field trips for kids going to camp all over the state of Michigan out in nature, which is super lovely. But we're getting those on a regular basis, as well as hygiene closets and some other things. So while we are working to fulfill those requests, we just think about, is this the only school that needs that, and how can we support that in a kind of a bigger way as well? The other project that we are really excited about relaunching, the foundation and many foundations across West Michigan do teacher mini grants, and we are opening that up again. So we're calling it the Teacher Innovation Fund, and that will launch in December. We are going to be giving teachers an opportunity to apply directly to the foundation for mini grants up to $500 for curriculum-based or after-school learning opportunities that are really focused on scholar needs and scholar interests to enhance curriculum or after-school engagement. So that'll be launching in December. So I just wanted to share that with you. And the final thing, and Sibley Elementary is one of our first recipients, is we are launching the Santa Squad, and they will be disseminating to 4 schools. We're starting small this year as a pilot project, to just do a little bit of surprise and delight. So we're excited about how we can do that with community partners who have said they want to step up and support GRPS. So those are my exciting updates right before Thanksgiving, and our goal is all about how do we think, celebrate, and inspire students as we head into the holidays. So thank you for your time. Bridget, if you have anything?
I don't. Santa Squad was on my list and you covered it.
Oh,
Right?
shoot,
No,
I stole
it's
yours.
good.
Okay.
No, it's very good. It's
All
very
right.
good. Our scholars will be very happy.
All right.
Question about Santa
Yes,
Squad.
please.
Is that for teachers or for administration staff or for students?
So we've had companies reach out to us and say, how can they surprise and delight our schools and scholars, teachers, administrative staff directly? And so we are actually kind of leaving it open. And so it could be anything from an after-school opportunity to supply board games to a school, or maybe give a new Nespresso machine to the teacher's lounge. Who knows? We're really letting the schools or the executive directors decide, and we're picked one school in each quadrant to match the district's Reimagine plan, and how do we support schools and make sure that we are looking at equity and opportunity in a really good light.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next report is an update related to our Reimagine GRPS. And I'll have Mr. Hendricks and Mr. Luke Steyer come forward to provide some updates of what we have learned over the last 7 days.
Good evening, President Williams, Dr. Roby, and trustees. Good to be with you this evening. I want to provide you a brief update on some of the feedback, just how we have received feedback over the past week. As you know, it was a week ago when we were here and we reviewed the facility recommendations from district leadership during a work session here. Since then, we've had staff meetings at East Leonard and Stocking Elementary Schools, the two schools that in these recommendations would close next fall. We also had an all-staff meeting. We met with the Scholar Advisory Council as well. And there was a Montessori parent group or action group that had a regular quarterly meeting that we were able to speak with last week to receive some feedback as well. And our online forum on grps.org. So we've already begun to get a lot of that feedback. We have been taking notes at all those meetings and are working to congregate those. And we'll continue to report out to you the feedback that we're hearing at upcoming board meetings. During this week, we've also been working to update our resources that we have available on grps.org based on some of the feedback we have received to try to create a more robust gathering of facts for people to be able to go and learn about these recommendations. So one update that we did based off of our work session last Monday was looking to have a little bit more information about each building that was recommended to close. So this is an example. This is now on the facilities slated to close on the building by building page on our website. On the 10 buildings proposed to close, we have this information about the current enrollment and utilization, when they were built, the deferred maintenance for each one, and the facility condition assessment, and then just a note on Aberdeen here, if the building does not have air conditioning. So buildings that don't have air conditioning, we had that note as well. So you can go through that page and click on the 10 that are recommended to close, and you'll see that information. We've also added a frequently asked questions page. It's somewhat small right now. There's about 10 question and answers on there right now, but we will continue to grow this as we learn, hear more questions, trying to put those most popular questions we're getting and the answers there on that page, so you can see that on the Reimagine page. A reminder of the video, the 12-minute video that we watched last week. There on the website, you can hear it in both English and Spanish. There's also closed captioning for Kinyarwanda and Swahili. The online feedback form that I mentioned earlier, as it asks the questions, I mean, the main three questions it asks are, what do you like about these recommendations? What are your concerns? And what supports would you need during this transition? But we're also collecting information from people about whether they're a scholar, a staff member, a parent, guardian, or community member, which quadrant of the city they live in, and their race, trying to make sure that we are getting a representation of our city. And some additional resources we are working to add to our website. And I know there was a request during our work session last week to have a map that shows what our district buildings are right now and what they would be after these consolidations. We are working on that, and we should have that up by the beginning of next week. There's quite a bit of process in that, but we hope to get that up very shortly. And we'll also continue to add to that frequently asked questions page that I showed you a moment ago. And then I just want to remind all of you and everyone in attendance tonight about our additional scholar and community feedback sessions that we have starting next week, 1 week from tonight. Our virtual session on November 27th at 6:30. That information, it's live.grps.org is where you can go join that Zoom, but we also have that link throughout the Reimagine GRPS page so that people can log in and join that night. And then we also have 4 in-person sessions starting on the 28th, 1 in each quadrant of the city. So we'll go on the northeast side to City High Middle on the 28th, and then the following week on 3 straight nights, we are at Ottawa Hills, Burton, and Union. We will have interpreters available at all 5 of those events, and for the 4 events that are in person, we will also have childcare. So just trying to get as much and gather as much feedback as we can over the next few weeks here to make sure that we're making these recommendations as good as possible.
One of the things I want to make sure that we also add, and this was a request from the feedback that we got when we met with our superintendent scholar advisory group, and they gave some very rich data. And one of the questions we asked is, how do we collect voice? Because that's representative voice from about 18 to 20 young people across all of our high schools. And so we will also be collecting voice from the middle and high school students specifically next week and through December 6th or 7th during lunch period, because we ask when is the best time. And so we're working very closely with building principals to collect a broader group of voice as well.
And while I don't expect there to be many, but what would we suggest for potential second shifters who may want to offer some feedback?
Right now, we don't have any events planned. Certainly, the online feedback form is available anytime, and people can go and put that information there. There's also the I have a question. If someone has a question, wants to have some follow-up, I know Leon and his communication team, they have been following up on anyone who has a question. They get back to them right away to try to get answers to them.
So the online feedback form is still linked to the Reimagine page?
Yes, it's right on. It's on the side of all the Reimagine pages. In fact, if you see right here on this image, I'll put my mouse. It's that link right there is the "We want to hear from you," and then you click on that and you can fill out that form.
You go up one page.
Back here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this form smart logic enabled? Meaning, if someone was to hover over any of the quadrants, I see this one on the like northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest, that it actually pulls up a map or something that allows them to know where that is. Just, I don't want to assume that people might know how we are doing directional senses around this report. So is there a way that something can be, if you hover over that, it kind of pulls up a map where people can see where they actually live to accurately?
That's a great idea. There's nothing right now, but we can work on that tomorrow. We can work to develop something, whether it's a map or an explainer that it lines up with your address or something along those lines. We can add something there. It's a great idea.
One of the other things I would say we talked about just a little bit is that second shift and possibly adding another like midday opportunity for in-person folks in the next, during that window of time to catch second shifters, because most of that is in the evening for the purpose of assuming more flexibility in the evening.
Or even maybe a virtual, that might be really easy to plan too.
We could do a virtual midday and a virtual and an in-person midday.
I do want to just give you credit and the team for taking the feedback that was provided from the last one and incorporating that. I think it's really good to emphasize the fact that voice is being heard in regards to what needs to happen to make sure that this information is put out there, but also for the ability for people to engage in the way that we want feedback to come back to the district. So thank you for getting that out there, giving the closed captions, and then also having the multiple language, so that way we are capturing as much authentic voice and people's feedback as much as possible. So thank you.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
Anything else, colleagues?
That concludes my reports for this evening.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
Next, we have an action item for parent advocates for special education. Colleagues, are there any questions with regards to this action item?
Can we just nominate them? And okay. I move to nominate Barb Lupik, Christy Morris and Brittany Whitfield as our advocates for special education.
All righty, so we have a motion and a second, and if you could please call the roll.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Reitman?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis, yes. Ms. Melton? Yes. Mr. Rodriguez is excused. Mr. Ross?
Yes.
Ms. Shadkey?
Yes.
Ms. Wade?
Yes.
President Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next, we have our consent agenda grouping. Is there a motion to accept the consent agenda grouping?
So moved.
Support.
Will you call the roll, Ms. Downs Lewis?
Mr. Reitman? Yes. Ms. Lewis, yes. Ms. Melton? Yes. Mr. Rodriguez is excused. Mr. Ross?
Yes.
Ms. Shadkey? Yes. Ms. Wade?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
President Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All righty, and we are at our next opportunity for public comment. And if you have a desire to give public comment, if you could please get that card into us immediately. Otherwise, you will miss this opportunity. So if you can get that in promptly. First, we have up Sarah Sack-Smith and Julie McBride. You are on deck, and Ms. Downs Lewis is going to give us our instructions for public comment.
Okay. Public comment is
Oh, you're
limited.
going to be at the podium.
Public comment is limited to 3 minutes per person. You will need to state your full name before providing your comment. We will then start the timer at the beginning of your public comment time and provide you with a 1-minute notice by flagging a red card, indicating that there's 1 minute left. You will need to complete your comment time upon being notified that 3 minutes have passed. Negative comments concerning employees or others will not be tolerated, and doing so will ensure that you lose your time. Board members do not respond to public comment. Concerns will be brought to the attention of the appropriate staff. We value your input and thank you for sharing with us.
Hello, my name is Sarah Sack-Smith. I am a C.A. Frost Elementary parent of 3 boys and the PTA president. In May, GRPS urged parents to do more when another gun was brought to a school. Well, I am a parent and a community member urging you all to please do more too. The mental health needs of our community are urgent. Our children, our families, our staff, and our community are continuing to experience too much with far too few supports and services provided. All of our children deserve preventative measures, effectively in place and policy to be followed consistently. Why is notification inconsistent from the district regarding situations? In July of this year, I received an email listing parts of the school safety plan for the 23-24 school year. Another plan with no action. It's not effective, 0 out of 10. Number 3, mental health and social emotional learning. As a parent, I have seen nothing from the district stating plans of addressing mental health or an additional SEL focus. I am very thankful Frost was able to host the FACE and SEL event this month, thanks to our PTA and principal. This document also states that every school will have a team member there specifically present to support the mental health of our scholars. Is that correct? Every school needs to have KSSN services or similar, not just an employment posting to ensure compliance. I'm familiar with mental health issues and resources as I hold a master's degree in social work and have worked directly in our community. Frost is a theme school, yes. However, our neighborhood communities all attend and should have access to the same level of supports and services no matter where schools or children, no matter what schools families choose. Number 10 is crisis aftercare. Additional crisis and aftercare training will be made available. What is currently in place? More preventative actions need to occur. Who defines a crisis? Is this only a crisis during school hours? Did you know Feeding America has seen an increase of over 34% utilization with mobile food pantries? That is a crisis. Allocate more funding to mental health services and support. You have families who cannot afford basic needs and food. These affect our children and their ability to learn. Their coping skills and emotional well-being are at risk, as well as their parents. I see a great plan to provide training to our PALs. Number 4 of this plan. Our PALs are not in our schools consistently, nor daily, or around our students on a daily basis. You are going to rely on stipend-paid parents to provide resources and online opportunities around mental health and safe gun storage. How is that an effective plan? Less than a month ago, verbal threats were made to students and a weapon was found in a backpack at my children's school. Has there been a crisis response team provided or a trained staff member provided to the district? No. Has this group of kids' classroom been talked to about the situation? No. I guess I'm confused as to how a weapon defined in Public Act 250 as a dangerous weapon doesn't define the need for additional supports. What does? The way of handling and communicating these situations is not working. Thankfully, our principal and our executive director are willing to hear the voices of our community, and I'm hoping when the district is asked to be present, you will make that a priority too. I'm asking GRPS to do better for our kids, put funding into prevention, not aftercare. Thank you.
Thank you. Julie McBride, and up next is Jesse Eden Hill.
Hello, my name is Julie McBride. I've been here a few times, and one question, I just wonder at what point do I get follow-up? I've yet to be contacted by anybody about any of my questions I've asked. So that was just one of my questions. I'll start off with that. The other thing I bring forward today is special education students and how they're being serviced, and how there seems to be a policy of mainstreaming, which is great for most students with appropriate support. And there seems to be a lack of support, just saying child care workers are not available, and to mainstream somebody with special needs that are beyond a learning disability, that have an IEP that states they need a child care worker. So I don't know if you've tried to manage 24 kids with a student that might have ASD. At times they can be very functioning and just along with the ride. And other times they're not. And then if you might have someone that's at a developmental level of maybe a 2-year-old, when you're teaching first grade, and their language, their speech and language impaired, how that would go if you're one person in a classroom might be a little difficult to meet their needs. Yeah, I just have those questions because I feel like there's lots of Band-Aids being put out there, and I don't know, because I feel like you're restricting other children, their learning, and teachers' evaluations, because when you're accommodating one student and there are lots of other friends in your classroom. So those are questions I have. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Jesse? And you all can also come just straight down the center aisle. That's pretty easy. And then Matt, you're up from GRA after that.
Hello, my name is Jessie. I have a second grader at C.A. Frost Elementary. On November 3rd, and at about 7 o'clock in the evening, all parents received an email from communications that a student had brought a dangerous weapon to C.A. Frost that day and had made threats against other students. The email was very vague, which I understand in some ways. You wanted to get it out, but it led to so many questions. There was no information about what grade. There was definitely no information about what had been told to the students already, and just the parents had gotten this email. The principal did later follow up that it was up to the parents to decide how they want to talk, but I can tell you that there has been so many rumors about this, and so many questions from parents, and I feel like people are not getting answers. People are asking our principal. She doesn't have the answers either. She can't say things. We've asked for communication of a representative from the district to come to the school to sit with us in in-person meeting, and we have not gotten that, and I'm hoping that can change and we can soon get that, if anything, to stop some of the talk going on. I understand you cannot say everything, but I think what most people want is questions and clarity on policy. What happens, what is the process with a hearing? How does that stuff work? These are the questions parents want to know. We don't need to know the specifics of what happened to the student, but we do need to know answers of what's happening. The second big thing that I really want to know, and I know others do as well, is what are we doing to prevent this? And I don't just mean weapons detection systems, I mean mental health. how can we stop this? This poor kid, I don't want to say poor, I don't know much about it, but this kid's life, he gets expelled. And that may be appropriate, but that is unfortunate. And we need to do more things to stop this before it happens, before people want to do that. How are we supporting our teachers? How are things happen? We need to do that stop. And I just want to make sure that whoever's in charge of safety is also somebody that we can trust and is not someone that may be doing violent things themselves. Thank you.
Matt, and then we have Emily Widvolsky.
What's up? Hello, my name is Matt Marlowe. I'm GREA president. I'm here on behalf of the GREA. I just wanted to point out a few things just to give some perspective. So I was looking over the GRPS financial report with supplementary information. So this is from June 30th, 2023. And then when you go to page 65, you'll see general fund for the year ended June 30th, 2023. When you go to this page, you'll see budgeted amounts. So you'll see budgeted, final, actual, and there's a variance. So basically, total expenditures right now were $281,645,646. And the actual for this year was $248,943,596. So our fund balance, we thought it was going to be $16,370,364, but it's actually $30,899,890. So thinking that we had a 5.8% fund balance, we actually have a 12.4% fund balance. So when people are talking about programming and having funding for things, I think we do have the funds in order to make that happen. We just have to find a way to work it out. I was also at a staff meeting on this past Tuesday at Ottawa Hills High School's for staff. And I just, at the very end, I asked a couple pretty straightforward questions. How many buildings do we have in the district? We currently have 63 buildings in GRPS. 54 of those buildings are schools. 2 buildings are not in use, and 1 building is used by Ken ISD. I was also talking to another president from Warren Public Schools. I basically asked their student numbers. He said around 13,000. We're closer to 14,000. How many schools do you have? They have 26 schools, 3 comprehensive high schools. We have 54 schools. That would basically say we're at 50% capacity. So, you know, being able to consolidate, you've done a great job with that. It's wonderful. I just think we need to kind of consolidate even more. So just to let the public know, it's like we have a lot of buildings, but we really need to consolidate, and it will help a lot of problems. So thanks for all that you do. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. And
Good evening.
good evening.
I'm Emma Witkowski. I've been at Aberdeen this is my 10th year. I was involuntarily transferred there from Sherwood, and I was kind of shocked at the status of the furniture and started advocating right away for better furniture. And it wasn't until right after COVID that I myself was able to get something better for the students. Now, mind you, the desks were similar to what's in front of me, only much worse. And all the corners had been drilled so that the legs could be repaired, and the drill holes were not filled in. And so all of my students had to work around holes. And I advocated and advocated and advocated through 2 principals and 1 ED for something different. And I finally got that something different 2 years ago now. This is my 2nd year with that furniture. And it appears to be secondhand single desks, which I was asked what I wanted. And thankfully, I was able to have that input. And I now have single desks in my classroom, but those single desks don't close all the way. Some of them, the fake wood is peeling off, and so the kids peel at it. The spring mechanism slams shut, so we have to watch our fingers when we're doing it. And I have 5th graders, so they're somewhat capable of paying attention to that. But I get an email on Friday at 3:08, so we get out at 3:26 for reference, that we're getting new furniture. And I got kind of excited because I'm like, yes, finally new furniture with the pictures attached. They are desks that are 1 inch smaller than what we currently have with 0 storage. No space for the students to keep their books, the books that they're currently reading, so their SSR books, their math books, which I understand are district property, but they're workbooks, so they write in them. Their supplies like whiteboards, whiteboard markers, rulers, their pencil boxes where they keep their SOAR tickets, which they buy things from me with, they use at the SOAR store. We have nowhere to keep stuff now. And the option was to use whatever storage space is in the classroom to have them transition from, when we do math, we're gonna go get our math book, bring it to our desk. And when we have reading, we're gonna go get our reading book, bring it back to our desk, which is more transition time, which we were just told, I believe, a week and a half ago, that we need to minimize transition time. And now we're asked to create more transition time because we have no storage space on the new desks. They're beautiful, but they create larger problems. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone that has turned in a comment card that has not? I didn't have a second comment card for you. I only have one.
But it was for a non-agenda item.
It's for the union. It says specifically the union. Just, so we offered you that time. Just go ahead. I'll mark it for this as well.
Okay, thank you.
In the future, we do need 2 cards for you.
Oh, you do need 2
Yes,
cards? I'm
thank you.
sorry. I didn't realize that. I didn't actually think I was going to get up and speak the first time. Once again, good evening. I'm Jane Neiman, Vice President of GREA. I wanted to speak to you tonight about Elevate K-12. The district approved a $5 million contract to hire virtual teachers to fill space in vacant positions in the district. And we have been using it at my school and other schools for almost 6 weeks now, and I can tell you it is not going well. We know from COVID that virtual teaching isn't very successful, and now the district has spent money engaging, hiring virtual teachers to teach kids in classes throughout K-12. We have some CI self-contained classes that have virtual teachers. And it is not going well. I have heard reports, we have had fights in these rooms, we have kids sleeping, we have kids disengaged. We have had a lot of chaos and problems in these rooms. In fact, since we did not begin to use K-12 at the high school level until October, things were actually functioning better in those rooms with a long-term sub than they are now with a virtual teacher. So my request to you, this board, is to cease and desist using this program if at all possible, and especially if it will save the district some money. I know that $5 million was budgeted, but I'm not sure if that payment is made on a semester or yearly basis. But I request and beg you that you do not use this program. It would be better to have a long-term sub in these positions and have a qualified certified teacher writing lesson plans and being paid extra for that work than it would be to have a virtual teacher who is not evaluated by GRPS, who has no accountability as far as the test scores and the achievement of these students, and who is not vested in our kids, who is there on a screen watching as these students begin to fight or sleep and have no control over the classroom. It is sad. And also, as a teacher in this district for 18 years, it's a bit of a slap in the face that we are subcontracting out these jobs, which is not only against the contract, but an unfair labor practice. So I beg you, please stop the use of Elevate K-12 in the classrooms. We can find a better solution. I know there are better solutions than this. I think it is in the best interest of our students and families, and definitely in the better interest of the district that we find other answers. There has to be a way that we can do hire-on bonuses, sign-on bonuses to student teachers that are coming out of the educational program, that are doing their student teaching this semester, that we can try to engage and hire for next semester. There are other options that we have. We can also increase the salary schedule so that we are paying teachers competitive salaries and they will want to work for the district. I beg you, please, virtual teaching is not the answer. It's going to set us back to where we were when we were doing COVID. Heartfully, from my heart, I beg you, this is not working. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Alrighty. Next we have board president announcements. I do not have any announcements. So then we will go to our superintendent's comments.
So I had the opportunity earlier today to welcome the Michigan Teacher of the Year, Miss Candace Jackson. She visited several of our schools, including Museum Middle School and Shawmut Elementary School. And she also was accompanied by our Region 3 Teacher of the Year, Miss Stephanie. Thank you.
And Shawmut K-8.
Yes. Thank you, Shawmut K-8, Stephanie Nielsen, and it was a really nice time to just lift up the work of the teachers, both of those fabulous teachers, but then also the teachers that were at Shawmut. Gratitude to our district leaders and building leaders who have attended several different events kind of behind the scenes over the weekend. We had some of our board members and community members and staff attend the induction of Sammy Leggett, who we saw from earlier this evening, the Santa Parade, which is something I think is renewed. I think it has been gone away and then it kind of came back, and we had several different community members and staff members around the Santa Parade. And then our very first resource fair that was held at one of the local churches that our district was invited to come, and many people came and shared the different resources that are available within our district. So thank you for those folks who did that work. I also just, again, want to invite our community and staff towards the engagement opportunities that will be taking place over the next 2 weeks. We are serious about engagement and do want to have discourse and be in solution. And it does mean that as we are making recommendations, there are no easy decisions. And so there's not going to be a perfect plan, but we will try to make sure that we have a plan that is perfect for our community right now, and that it also has space and place to grow and evolve. Just kind of making sure that we have those connections, because one of our commitments is how are we doing this work, operationalizing it back to our strategic plan. Strategic theme 6, which is around culture and collaboration. You're seeing some of those things as we are having discussion, as people are meeting with us and giving feedback, both what they like and also that constructive feedback. I think it's really important. And then also celebrating people. I am so excited to celebrate Ms. Maher and our student athletes, and of course, Mr. Leggett. And then Ms. Nielsen. It's important to celebrate a lot of the things that people are doing, both big and small. Also related to engaging a more impactful workforce, the conversations and feedback, that's what this has been. And we have promised and made that commitment that we will continue to ask questions and be engaged in dialogue and ask for feedback and then bring that forward. And so we are very committed to that. And hopefully people are starting to see that it's how it's manifesting itself with the feedback in real time of updating that website and making sure that we are adding things to the dashboard and being sensitive to how can we reach a broad swath of our community. Because as we are talking about this work with our master plan, I keep saying it is not our individual plan, it is our collective plan from our community, and we want to get this right. And that's why it won't be perfect, but we want to make sure that we have tried to consider different things, and we just really want to invite people to come forward. And we will be adding, I have sent an email in the time that I've been here, we will be adding a daytime time for folks who work second shift to participate in these conversations. And again, I'm lifting that up to say, if people don't say things and give us ideas, we don't always think of it. And so we want to make sure that we are being responsive to that. And finally, come on Thursday morning. I heard 30 minutes. It's going to take me about 45. I'm going to just be real honest. So my goal is to finish in less than an hour, but it is a really fun time and it goes quick. So if you are not doing anything Thursday morning, it's a nice way to get your heart pumping, and then you won't feel so bad about that dessert or that extra glass of adult beverage, whatever that may be as you are enjoying the holiday. So thank you.
All righty, and then we will go to our board member comments. We'll start with our student representative, Mr. Calderon.
I'm going to address some of the comments made. Of course, I cannot only speak on every comment as I am just a lonely student. For the issues of mixing grades 6 through 12 and 7 and 12, I myself go to a 7 and 12 school, and issues of bullying or some form of discrimination to younger students is not a problem that is currently seen. Of course, there are some of the seniors who find it a little bit annoying when walking through the hallways, but above that, there is no big issue coming from that. So if you have any fears about that, I'd say rest assured that through my experience, it has been a very, I believe, a nice community who's able to speak on many levels, and it also allows us upper levels to mentor younger students into programs or clubs that we have hosted that we are soon to leave. Issues of safety I've known have been a big problem for a lot of parents, mine as well, and especially with current events that have occurred. I myself am someone who, of course, fears that at any moment I could be in an unsafe space, but I have belief in my GRPS board and our staff that these problems will be addressed. I just think it's a matter of time and not of how, just of how, more of when we are going to get to it. Another issue I would like to point out would be with virtual teachers. I remember my years as a virtual student were not the best, and I definitely was impacted by it, not only academically, but also mentally. So I would like to see maybe a different approach to that, because I know virtual teaching is not the best, especially if it's not one of our staff teachers, because who knows what a virtual teacher would think to a random group of students. I know that may scare a lot of principals and other faculty members. So yeah, I would like to see that also addressed.
Thank you. Ms. Melton?
Yeah, we're excited about the work in front of us over the next couple weeks. And one of the reasons that we're really excited to take on this challenge of reimagining GRPS is because of the resources and the pulling together of those resources and the power in really intentionally making decisions about where they go. So I just thank the community for giving us some feedback on some of the things, some of the details that are really important to you, because we want to make sure that those details are fleshed out in this process and that we get them right. So thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Shockey?
Tonight was just a night that reminded me why I'm so proud to be in Grand Rapids Public Schools and to be a parent here in GRPS as well. So just feeling grateful in this week that is so important. Thank you.
Ms. Downs-Lewis?
Yes, I'd like to celebrate the students that you discussed as far as being academic All-Americans and or all-district or all-state, whatever that they were, but that is so wonderful. And all these kids who participate in sports and do so well, because I know how hard it is to be an athlete and get all your work done as well. And so my hat's off to the coaches who encourage them, the parents who support them, and the kids who do the work. So thank you.
Mr. Ross?
No comment.
Mr. Eaton?
Very short. Thank you all who came out and expressed your concerns. Please rest assured that this board listens, and as you see, we provide feedback, and so this is great to have that continuation of feedback given from you all. Also, thank you to all the scholars and the celebrations that happened today. I think it's really good to highlight the accomplishments of what we're seeing from our scholars and the recognizing staff, and so I think that is great to see that. Also, I wanted to the last thing I wanted to say is that not everybody celebrates Thanksgiving. And it might be a celebratory occasion for some, but when we think about our Indigenous individuals, that is not a celebrated holiday. For those who do or do not partake, just have a great, awesome week. But just wanted to put that out there because it's not a holiday for all.
No comment.
Ms. White.
Congratulations to all that were celebrated today. It was a really feel-good moment. Thank you for all the advocacy and thank you for your comments today. I appreciate your insight and honesty on. Thank you.
And I'll end again, always thanking everyone for being out with us tonight, sharing your time and your thoughts with us. I do, just tonight, I kind of felt the theme of community, and this is not just our work. As we saw from the principal to our alumni, that this is a collaborative work. It is community, it is family, it is schools, it is community organizations, it's churches. And so I ask that we continue to tap in as a village. We don't all have the answers, and we don't presume to have them all, but when we come together, we get our best. So thank you all, and we ask that you continue to just join us as we do this work. We will have an opportunity to go into closed session this evening, and so I'll have Ms. Downs-Lewis read us into closed session, and then we will have to vacate the room for all that are not board members. Thank you.
I move that the board go into closed session for the purpose of considering the written legal opinion of the council to the board, which opinion is exempted from disclosure under Section 13 of the Freedom of Information Act. This closed session is pursuant to the Open Meetings Section 8(1)H.
Is there support?
Second, if needed.
We do.
And please call the roll, Ms. Downs-Lewis.
We just all say it at once.
See, I knew I had a reason to be nervous. I told you.